Come back at 6, wake me and your child, and then won't lay today. Make me wonder who you might have been playing with. Makes me wonder who you think.
I am your host, Tanir, and today we have a very special guest who has an incredible story to share. Her journey with EDS has taught her strength, resilience, and the power of advocacy. I'm truly honored to have her here with us today. Please join me in welcoming my guest. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself.
Hey, I am Stashia Jeanette, and I am 31 years old, and I have Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, and it is a connective tissue disorder that really kind of causes a whole, I call it like the mansion that a whole bunch of other smaller issues, health issues, live in kind of rent free, and it's a rare disease that a lot of people don't know about, including healthcare professionals and doctors. So I think the average time for people to usually get diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is somewhere around 30 years. So literally people go cycling through, like I have, from specialty to specialty to specialty to specialty, where you can't get a straight answer on what's actually happening with your body because it is a rare disease. It Your connective tissue is literally head to toe, so it can cause head to toe issues internally and externally. And it's just been kind of since about 12 years old, going in and out of doctors, a lot of surgeries, a lot of getting hurt, a lot of missing a lot of life, not having a normal childhood, not having a normal high school life, not having a normal college life, no relationships and friendships because everything I was spending all my time in and out of the hospitals. And it's just kind of one of those things that if you don't have, number one, like a really strong internal faith and resilience within you, it can take you out. Mentally it's rough to deal with going through surgeries. It's rough going through feeling like you're alienated and not normal with people. Nobody your age knows what you're, dealing with. And when you tell someone, oh, I have a chronic illness, they, for whatever reason, when you say you have a chronic illness to somebody, they expect you to just like magically get over it. Like they call you, hey, are you still sick? Like it's a chronic illness. Yes, I'm still, and then that's kind of how your friends drop off because, oh, you can't do the things that we're doing at 18, at 19, at 20, and I think just sitting in the room, sitting in hospital rooms, watching the calendar change, but you're still doing the same thing. Nothing is changing with you. It doesn't get talked about enough, the mental impact that has on a person, because internally you feel like you should be doing a lot less and you can't. There's literally days when your body just can't do
Right.
anything, and but you're 18, you're 19, you're 20, you're in your 20s. You should be able to be doing something. And when you're not able to do something that makes you feel like you're being a productive part of society and a productive part of life, I mean, the amount of pitfalls that I hit in my life of honestly like not even just wanting to live anymore because I didn't feel like I was even living at that point.
Right.
It's it's a lot. You don't get kind of the mental support when you're going through this, and honestly, like doctors don't really care about that aspect. If I'm being honest, their fix is here, take some more of these drugs, take this, take that, take this, take that. It's kind of exacerbating the fuel to the fire already. Nobody's that's been that's why it takes so long for people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome to get diagnosed because doctors are not communicating with one another on what the patient is on, what issues they have. And so one specialty doctor is throwing this kind of drug at you, another specialty doctor is throwing that kind of drug with you, and nobody is checking, does this have conflicting, interacting things? Everybody's just throwing drugs at you, and you're the guinea pig. So it just, it's tough. It's really rough.
So, when did you find out you had EDS and how has it impacted your life?
Officially, I got diagnosed last year, but I've been putting the pieces together for it, I guess, since I was 16. And I said, hey, at the time it was called, like, you were just double jointed. Like, that was just the thing. Oh, you're double jointed. But it's having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and hypermobility is just one variation of having Ehlers-Danlos. There's multiple variations of Ehlers-Danlos, and having double jointedness is just one small fraction of of it. And doctors never took it seriously when I was 16, 14 through 16 years old. And a lot of the issues and symptoms that I was having, I would say, is it possible that it's related to having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? And everybody would just be like, that's not a real thing. You're just double jointed. Because
Right.
it just wasn't widely accepted at the time. But I think that's what makes it the most frustrating situation at this point, is that literally little 14 through 16-year-old me was like, hey, I think it's this. Can we check here? And they were all like, no, that's not. Why would we do? That's not a real thing. Or it would be, you're too young for that, even though, if had they have checked Ehlers-Danlos and just looked at the things that come along with it, they would see that everything that I had said that I was too young to have falls under it. And it would have saved me a lot of surgeries, a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, a lot of misdiagnoses, and a lot of treatments and medications being thrown at me that I never needed to be on in the first place.
Wow. So, what are some of the daily challenges you face that people may not realize because it's an invisible illness?
Definitely the pain. Hands down, it's the pain. And I think that's the thing that I'm sure I can speak for all the people of the Ehlers-Danlos community when I say this, that it's the most infuriating thing when people see you doing normal everyday things, like you're out shopping, you're out doing yard work, you're out trying to, go to physical therapy, or you're at the gym, or you're whatever the case may be, normal everyday things. They see you doing normal everyday things and they're like, they're just faking. That's not, they're not sick. They're not having X, Y, and Z going on, because externally, like, we look fine.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that, along with having like really bad chronic fatigue, but honestly, in my case, the pain takes number one position. I mean, everything joint wise internally is hurting, like a good 8, 9 level of pain all the time. And even more so now that last May I got off of all the heavy hitting big pharmaceutical drugs that essentially were just adding gas to the flame. And I went against medical advising, AMA that they call it, because I was tired of just getting the runaround with all the doctors. And again, nobody could give me, do I even need to be on this? Nobody could give me a straight answer on anything. So here's where the faith in the divine kicked in, of it's literally like God said, you don't need to be on this. And so I stopped gradually. I wasn't just like, I woke up one morning and got off everything, but like gradually. I started getting off of stuff, and it changed. It changed everything.
So is the pain something that happens often? Is it like once in a while, it just out of nowhere, here it comes? Or is it like something that you deal with more frequently?
No, it's like an all the time thing, but more so now because again, I'm not on any medications, and that's the it's like the and I'll tell everyone this bluntly. It's the blessing and the curse with things because while you were on medication, you literally couldn't feel anything. I mean, literally, I didn't know who I was. I couldn't feel anything head to toe. Like I was numb in general. I kind of just felt like just like I was on autopilot or like some like zombie mode, you know?
Right.
And I had a primary care physician recently say this to me. He's like, you're in a really rare position where most people who are on all this medication never get off of it. But now you're in the spot of now you're off of everything and now you're it's great, but now you're hurting bad all the time because now you can feel what's been going on in your body essentially your entire life, and it's just been hidden.
Right.
So so like I it's a constant everyday thing, but having doing physical therapy, moving, taking walks, dancing, like it does help. I know it sounds counterproductive a little bit, but staying active, doing meditation and yoga and things of this nature does help, but it's a constant pain.
So I checked out your documentary. We had this conversation off air as well. We will get into her YouTube and things at the end, you guys. But in the documentary, you talked about the first time that this has ever happened, you fainted, right? Do you still have faint spells?
Yeah. Now I'm able to like I know when it's gonna happen. I mean, I'm 31, I'll be 32 next month. So like I've had a long time to kind of master the signs and symptoms of like a near syncope or syncope, a pass out or near fainting episode. And it's usually like you can kind of see it's like tunnel vision closing in on you. Like everything's just getting like dark. And there's like a good 30-second, 35, maybe a minute time span that I have to go and kind of lay down, put my feet up in the air so the blood will go back to my head and prevent an actual pass out situation. But things like heat, I'm super heat intolerant. A lot of people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, super heat intolerant. Like just going outside, it's in Tennessee, it's 97 degrees. It is 97 degrees today. I went out to get my mail and I literally felt like I was about to burst into a ball of flames and hit the floor immediately. So I literally grabbed the mail and ran back inside, put an ice pack on. Heat and taking a shower, standing up. It's the standing up and the heat combination that is a huge trigger for a lot of us who have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, regardless what variation. It's a really tricky thing, and it comes from, they call it dysautonomia or positional orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, POTS for short.
Okay.
That causes the pass outs or the near syncope to happen. So like adding salt into your diet, having a lot of electrolytes, and keeping yourself hydrated. I have a chest port because every week I have to have weekly hydration and multivitamins. Since having a total colectomy, I'm not able to absorb nutrients and water the way that normal people can. So, but staying hydrated is a big one to try to prevent the pass outs. But it does happen again. Heat, physical activity, being dehydrated, just some of the big triggers. Um, But again, knowing your body and being able to notice the signs and symptoms, it's usually manageable. But when you don't know and it's just starting to happen to you, it definitely, I spent a lot of my life essentially doing nothing because I didn't know it was happening. So
Right.
for like 2 to 3 years, I mean, I just was inside, and my mom was terrified. She didn't want me like going anywhere, while she was at work or anything, because it's like, that's scary.
Right.
You're just walking, and then all of a sudden you're on the ground, like out in the parking lot at the grocery store. So it's like, but
Yeah.
now not so much. Yeah.
So, how has EDS affected your relationships and friendships?
I would say currently right now I have one good friend. Like, I could call her right now and tell her like, hey, this is what's happened. You know what I'm saying? She's like a friend.
Okay.
But outside of that, and again, God, I call it God's source universe. God does this thing where y- you you go through certain situations, losses, you go through trauma, you go through pain, you go through suffering. My whole situation was being in the hospital and being sick, and all the friends that I thought I had throughout high school and college, wasn't nobody in those hospital rooms with me ever.
Wow.
And the worst moments of my life, like the people that I thought would be there for me, were not. And so it really, I think in these situations, you do one of two things. You either cling to the divine or you abandon it, because you think, why me? Like, why have you forsaken me? This whole thing. Why are you doing this? And or you start getting mad and bitter, and then it's like, you know, or you go the opposite way and you're like, I can't trust none of these people. All I got is the divine. All I got is the divine, because
Right.
clearly, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? And that's what I did. To be honest, from 4 years old, I had a very, very close relationship with God's source universe, was the divine, because that's all I had. Had a super rough childhood, and I've always been like alone. And that's all I've ever had. And so when all this happened and my friends started dropping like flies, like when I got sick and I was like, oh, hey, this is what's going on. And they were like, oh, that sucks. Well, we're going to the club. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Gosh.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, all this, and then when all this is going on, no one was there for me but the divine, and I will stand 10 toes on this, and I'll always say this, that if I had to go through all this that I've gone through again, I would, because of the relationship that I have with the divine, because of how I turned out, because of the way that I've been molded, the up leveling, the growth, the healing, the getting to know myself, the building a really close relationship with with the divine, with God, with source, with, I mean, getting to know yourself really well is something that a lot of people purposely try to avoid doing. Yeah, you know what I mean? By any means.
Right.
And but God forced me to spend, up until literally just now, like now I'm just now coming out into the world. So 31 years in isolation, to grow, to learn, to observe, to take note of how people were going to do you, how people were going to do me. God, source, universe will purposely cloak you, hide you in plain sight, hide your true worth, just to show you, like, God already knows how people are going to do you. But
Right.
like, you know what I'm saying? But like you you have to go through some things to see, and that's what it was. So even like I said, to right now, I have like one solid friend, and that's how I would prefer it, to be. It's about quality, not quantity to me. But once I got sick, everybody dropped like flies. And that's
Look at you now.
right, right,
Look at you.
right, right.
So, how do you balance advocating for your health, Stasia, while trying to live a fulfilling life?
I mean, I feel like every single day I'm playing like multiple roles.
Mm,
Not so much now because, again, kind of coming out of the trials and tribulations phases, but like still, just the other day, I went in for a doctor's appointment to get an IUD taken out and replaced, and I'm currently doing pelvic floor therapy because of like a lot of abuse and trauma, and so I'm just it's just everything pelvic wise is just pain city. Also, I have endometriosis, and it's you know what that is.
yes.
Yeah. So I have like stage 4 super advanced endometriosis, and it's just super painful all the time. So me trying to go in for this IUD removal process, I was freaking out. They had to do like a vaginal ultrasound to try to make sure it was in the right place. And I mean, screaming. I was
Yeah.
like, look, I can't. I can't. And so the little nurse came in and she was like, okay, so let's just, do you want to come in another time and try to do something under medication? Can we try to like give you some medication? And I was like, yeah, can I just talk to the OBG about like what are my options for this? I was like, because this isn't it. I had it placed while I had an endometriosis surgery, so I wasn't even awake when it was put in me. I was like, but I'm telling you now, y'all aren't going to be able to get this out of me and put a new one back in while I'm awake. Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not okay with it. And number one, I don't think this should be an in office procedure for anybody because it's painful. It
Right.
sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not in the primal area, the primal era anymore. Why are we still doing this? You know? So she met with me and was able to schedule me to have this done as a we're trying to get it scheduled as a go in the OR
Okay.
to have it done under general anesthesia because like I just couldn't. But things like this are where my advocacy skills have come in handy because I can remember a lot of times, a lot of doctor's visits where I did not say, hey, look, I can't, you know, I just suffered through it because I just thought you would think, I don't know, naive me, but you would think that the healthcare providers would offer you modalities and things to help you,
Mm-hmm.
like just willingly. I just didn't think, obviously from young me to now that like I had to ask, hey, are there other options for this? But like now, regardless where I go, I'm like, look, what are the things that and when, what are my options? What can I do? X, Y, and Z. And then if I go into an appointment and I'm telling them about something, and the amount of times that I've mentioned Ehlers-Danlos, and they're like, like, I don't know. I just get up and leave at this point because I'm not going to be the guinea pig. And
Right.
I would encourage everybody at this point to do the same. And I'm sorry, but it is, and that's the thing is that it's doctors are practicing. It's a practice. So
Right.
like, but you're gonna have to find somebody else to practice on because like can't
Not
can't
a guinea pig, and you're not a cash cow. Unfortunately,
no,
the healthcare industry,
and
it's
that's it.
it's a money It's a
That's
money
it.
business. So,
There's a thing that says a patient cured is a customer lost, and facts on that. And I don't care. Like, I'm saying, that's it. Literally, that's why a lot of the things, I'm gonna just say it, a lot of the things that can cure you, they don't want it to be a readily available legalized thing,
mm-hmm,
because everybody out of business at that point.
right.
And that's
Absolutely.
and that's what it is. And but now a split has happened in the healthcare, I mean, on earth in general, but a split has happened in the people of earth, but in the healthcare professional, in the healthcare system, where there are some providers who are still just kind of the drug mules for the big pharmaceutical kingpins, and they're just out here wanting to push the drugs for the
Mm-hmm,
patients who just want a quick fix, period. I'm
mm-hmm,
trying to find another way to say it, but it's just this, who just, hey, I'm hurting, write me a prescription.
right.
And that's it. And that's what it is. And then there's the healthcare providers who are like, hey, okay, this is what's going on, and I'm fine to offer you those things if these other holistic methods don't work, right? Like, let's try physical therapy, let's try X, Y, and Z, let's try altering this, and this, let's change the diet, let's take you off of this. I have never heard a doctor say, let's try to remove this medication.
Yes, me being, an employee on the other side, actually seeing it, with the copays, if you don't have the money to cover the prescriptions, they are like, yeah, you got cash?
Right,
Can you write a check?
right.
So
Can you take out a loan?
right. If you can't pay on this, we can't help you. They're pushing you outside the door. And
Right.
even if they give you a prescription for something, you got to understand, um, it's a temporary fix so you can come back again, right? If a prescription runs out, what happens? You go back, you get a refill, you go back to the doctor, symptoms have worsened. Or you just think that is all better. You just need to stay on it. You find yourself being addicted. I mean, we could talk
Yeah.
about this for hours. Okay.
No,
So,
you're on it. You're on
but
it though.
healthcare industry doesn't care about taking care of you, of
No.
your. They're looking at it as soon as you walk through that door. Hey, what's wrong?
What's
You
wrong?
know, an ambulance trip is $600. I think it's a little bit more than that
Oh
now.
no, it's like $1,000 at
Yeah.
this point.
Okay.
Yeah,
$1,000.
yeah,
And then when you get in the door, and if you have to do X-rays, and then medication or surgeries, like I've seen it. Okay,
yeah,
so it's unfortunate your syndrome of EDS, right? You going in there and you're telling them, I'm feeling this pain, this excruciating pain.
yeah.
I'm having faint spells. You're the doctor. What are you gonna do about it?
Right.
I'm telling you this, and you're telling me there's nothing we can do. Or take these pills, Stasia. Take
Yeah,
these pills. Go
yeah,
run over there to the pharmacy, and when you run out, go. We'll have you do a refill again. So
right.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. But then also not even checking, like I said, not checking to see if what medication you're already on has conflicting side effects with the medication that you're getting ready to get prescribed, or that the doctor's trying to prescribe you.
Right.
So much of what I was experiencing came from drug clash. Like, because they were, two medicines were incompatible,
Right.
right? And then it was messing up something else in my body, and then it was messing up something else in my body, and then they were like, oh well, here's the medicine for this thing that that now is going off. Oh, that's happening now. Here's some medicine for that thing. Oh, and that thing's going off, and here's this. But again, nobody along the lines was like, we should probably look and see if any of these are these compatible. Could this be causing this? And then there was one specialty that was like, hey, I think you might be having like these could be, I forgot what the technical term is, the medical term is for it, but it essentially where some certain drugs are incompatible together.
Right.
And I was like, great, can you mention that to the other doctors? And they were like, nah. Like
Oh goodness. And it's so unfortunate because even if they know, it's still, we just want you to come back again, you know.
we just we'll just continue. It's the level of, I understand what's happening, but we're just not gonna. I see it. It's like oh, it's there, but like
Let me turn
you know
that.
what I'm saying? Like oh, and again, like
Yes.
that's what a lot of the situation that's what a lot of the situation that I went through came from. You know, it was like Ehlers-Danlos was the main thing, right? That housed everything else, like Crohn's disease, endometriosis, gastroparesis, dysautonomia, POTS. These are in this thing, and I'm like, hey, can we just? And they're like, nah, but here's this medicine.
No.
Nah, but here you go. And then I remember, so like I was getting impacted, like I wasn't having any bowel movements, and I was in the hospital because for a week because they were trying to get me to have a bowel movement for a week. I mean, throwing so much stuff at me. Like I should have been like blowing that hospital out, and nothing was happening. Number one, at that point, you need to accept like this person has gastroparesis, like their bowels are just they're not working.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like me saying that, like, hey, do you think it could be? And they're like,
Mm-mm.
nah.
Mm-mm.
But during this hospital stay, I had an exploratory surgery to try and find out, like, does she just have a blockage? What's happening? But while they were in there, they found the endometriosis. Now, up to this point, none of the doctors would even check for it because I was like 17, 18 at the time. And their response was, you're too young to have that. You're too young for that. I'm like bleeding out at like a continuous period in excruciating pain. I was bleeding for like 4 months and was going back and forth to the gynecologist, and they were like, "Nah, you're too young to have endometriosis. You're too young to have endometriosis. You're too young to have endometriosis." And so then, when I had this exploratory surgery, a gynecologist surgeon, I forgot what it's called, an OBG
Right.
surgeon
Yeah.
came in and was like, hey, can you confirm that this is in fact endometriosis? And he saw it, took the pictures of it, confirmed it. Yeah, this is endometriosis. And then he was like, well, she's not my patient, so I'm not going to remove it. Like,
What? Oh no, 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 no.
literally saw eyes on it, saw it, and then they're like, yep, that's what it is, and stitched me up.
What?
But then it gets better. So when I got out, when I got out of the hospital, I took the pictures of the readily identifiable, readily available to look at high quality photos from the OR that showed the endometriosis on my ovaries, on my uterus, on the cervix, and other places, right? And I showed it to my gynecologist, and these fools straight up looked at it and was like, that's not endo.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm firing
when I
everybody.
when I tell you that I was like, I literally, you know that who, oh God, what's her name? Ooh, I forgot her name. It's she Viola Davis, that meme where she just look and she's like, and she picks up her bag. That was literally me. That was literally me. As soon as they said that, I was like, I I got my stuff and I just walked out of the appointment because I was like, are you? First of all, now you have the photographic evidence. You literally have because their whole thing was, oh, we don't have anything in black and white that says, like, there's a blood test that you can do that's essentially just rigged to say, like, no, you don't have, because you can't do a blood test to find endometriosis. You can't. The
Right.
only way to physically see it is you have to do like an exploratory surgery. You have to have an operation to see it.
Right.
They had literally the photographic evidence and proof with the op notes that said endometriosis spotted. And they were like, that's not endo. I was like, all right,
Oh,
I'm going to head out.
goodness.
I'm going to go ahead and head out.
Yeah, I'm gonna fire all these doctors, and we're gonna start this all over again. It's just so unfortunate.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, in every single, it's not just one specialty. That this was across the board, not just in one state. It wasn't just here. It wasn't just like I've been everywhere. You saw the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I I've been everywhere,
My
and across the board, like the stories, the experiences that I have had of this same thing happening. Like, what do you mean you don't, like,
God.
it's right here.
You
You,
don't believe me?
you
So,
yeah.
how do you handle moments of doubt and frustration? Like, what keeps you motivated through the tough times, Stasia?
I meditate a lot. Like, I'm really spiritual. I think people either lean towards being like super religious or like spiritual, but I've been clinically dead 7 times, like resuscitated, brought back 7 times. So like, when you if you just experience one near death experience, it changes you, you know? But
Right.
like multiple instances of having it, like, I became really, 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 like I said, really close with the divine. And I used to be more on the religious side, but again, after I kind of like got resuscitated, rose from the grave, so to speak, I became more like spiritual. So I spent a lot of time meditating and praying, and that's it, And I have a psychiatrist that I go to because I was on medicine for my ADHD, and again, but also got off it in in May with everything. So, but now I still have like maintenance meetings with him like every 6 months. And one of the meetings, he was like, He's like, are you seeing a therapist? And I was like, no. And he's like, because the things that you're saying, he's like, it's like very therapist like. I'm like, well, I was like, it's because I talk to God a lot. So I was like, I mean, God's my therapist. So like, that's what I've been doing, and that's it. I think people are expecting me to say something grand, or I don't know. Someone asked me, like, you got a spell for what? Like, what? No, ain't nobody. That's not what this is. No. Why does everybody want some sort of like magic? Man, I'm telling you what it is. What it is that from 4 years old to now, I just been in the trenches getting socked out. Like, and I had no my my entire life and existence is just from the divine. Like, I'm only here because God's source universe keeps pouring into me. That's it. Like, I'm just the vessel from which divine life flows through, and that's it. When I'm struggling, when I'm going through really tough times, I sit alone, I pray, I meditate, I spend a lot of time just in my room in silence. a lot of solitude. Like, I'm a hermit. I'm very much a hermit because, again, 31 years of essentially isolation, and it's, but that's what I do.
I am stuck on 7 times because, listen, this show could be a whole hour and 40 minutes right now, but we're going to save that for, we're going to talk off of here. Maybe we can get you in for a part 2, but
Okay.
7 times, Stasia?
Yeah. And what's crazy is that after the first time, now you can believe this or not, but like there is there are a lot of people who have spiritual gifts, and one of mine was having the gift of, like, I guess, like, biblically it would be kind of like prophecy, or like try like be knowing things before, seeing things, like, do you know what I'm trying to say here, like, before it happens.
Right.
I absolutely knew that, like, what was to come, so to speak, in a way, is like, more than anything, I could I could feel the level of darkness, deception, and adversity. I can't even, like, adversity is putting it lightly, but this is a whole spiritual war that I have just come through. Like, this is not, this is nothing. Obviously, they're in physical vessels, but this is not a physical thing that I've been dealing with. Like, this is on some, like, a whole spiritual front of things happening. But I knew that there was going to be so much that was going to happen to me. When I was in a hospital one time, I actually had them come in and bring me the paperwork for a DNR, a do not resuscitate, because I knew. I signed a DNR at 18 because I didn't want to be brought back. I knew. I full well knew that what was about to happen multiple times, not just one time in my life, but, like, again, it was a 31-year war, you know? And the next time that I got hospitalized, a whole group of doctors and nurses came into my room. And, every time you get put into the hospital, they have to, if you have a DNR, they have to put this bright this bright band on you that says DNR. And they all huddled around me and they were like, "We have to talk about this DNR." And I was like, "Okay, what's there to talk about?" And they're like, "We're not going to honor it." And I was like, "That's unfortunate because I've already signed it." So, and then they just, like, they just ripped it up, like, like, in front of me. They were like, "We're not doing that." And I
What?
was like, it was literally like what do they call it? Like an intervention, but it was like a divine intervention where they all, I mean, it was a room full of doctors and nurses who were fully well and ready to lose their jobs over saying, "We're not going to let you die." And, and I was like, "Well, I'm done. I'm done with this." I was like, "Cause y'all," I wanted to say so badly, like, poor little 18-year-old me, like, y'all aren't playing fair.
Right.
Like, this is, you know what I'm saying? It's just me against how many hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands of you guys. I was like, y'all aren't, that's how I felt. Like, y'all aren't playing fair. Like, I'm literally fighting a losing battle here. I'm not dealing with this. But they were like, "No, you're gonna do this, and you got this. You got this." They had more faith in me than I had in myself at the time. Like, it wasn't that I didn't have faith in God's Source Universe. That was never it. But, like, my little physical body was struggling, so I just was like, but yeah, had they not have done that, I would not be here.
Wow.
Mhm.
I'm so happy to have you here to tell the story. My goodness. Progress, strength.
Yeah. And again, it's literally nothing but that. I mean, hindsight looking back, like there were a lot of times where I gave up on myself,
Mm-hmm.
but never my faith, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I've always had full unwavering faith in God's source universe. I've always had very unshakable, unmovable, unwavering faith. And I will continue to always have that because that's all I've ever had. But there were a lot of times in my 31 years where like I was like, I don't care anymore, because and I people are like, "Oh, I've hit rock bottom." Man, rock bottom is a bottomless pit. It is. Like if you think you have hit rock bottom and then it goes deeper, and it that was me for like a lot of times. And the crazy part about it is that my pain and suffering was on display for everybody to see, and a lot of people enjoyed that whole progress, that whole journey of me being down. A lot of people will support you staying down but not support you rising up. And there were a lot of people, again, like when I was in my, I think what is the trend that they call it on like social media, it like a demon time. When I was on demon time, right? And that like and I'm doing all the like the bad things. Oh, the people were around me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, let's turn up. Like, oh, like like you wanna do this, you wanna do that, you wanna go here, you wanna do that. Like it was friends, it was guys, it was all the things, like, oh, continuously hitting me up all the time. Always had people around. But the moment that I was like, all right, there's enough of that. Like, do you know what I'm saying? They were like,
Right.
oh, that's what, oh, that's what you're doing now. Like, oh, you like, nah, man, listen, like, evolve or repeat is literally what I say all the time. That's my brand thing. Evolve or repeat. You got two options.
Right.
I chose to evolve. Simple.
I'm proud that you chose to evolve. That is, I wouldn't say that's crazy for you to say that because that is the absolute truth. When you are, for one, I rebuke the whole demon time thing. I'm good on that. For one,
Facts.
I'm
Facts.
not. I'm not manifesting that into nothing over
Facts.
here. For
Ever.
two, this is your story. I'm just gonna add a little bit of my experience to what you just said.
Yeah.
When I was drinking, smoking,
Right.
negative,
Yes.
the twerking, the everything, the worldly
All the
stuff,
things.
right?
Yeah.
And I hit rock bottom. As you
Oh yeah.
said, rock bottom is a bottomless pit. I wholeheartedly agree
Yeah.
because it just keeps getting worse, right?
Yeah.
Until you either are faced with, okay, am I going to keep going this route or am I going to go past that and go another direction? So
Right.
for me, luckily, I got to the point where it was like, I cannot do this anymore. I
Yes.
can't. I lost myself. And as you said in the beginning of this interview, people are afraid to find themselves. People
Yeah.
are afraid to be them. I am authentic. There's one of
Yes.
me, right? There's
Yes.
one of you. So, with that being said, me hopping on a bandwagon and doing what everybody was doing, thinking like, okay, I can drink, I'm having fun. These are my
Yeah.
friends. These are people who want to be around me. They love me, right? They
Right.
love what I'm doing. The
Facts.
moment I said, I'm not, no more, this is it. I'm taking a different path and I'm loving myself more. I'm getting on a healing journey. I am
Mhm.
getting closer to, as you would say, the divine, right?
Mhm.
I notice those things are slowly just withering away.
Yeah.
And of course, you think you better. I know I'm better than who I was yesterday, right? I know
Yes.
that you were only here because of the things, the poisons I decided to choose, right? Because you got to pick a poison, right? It's either you're
Yep.
drinking, you're popping pills, you're
Yep.
smoking,
Yep.
you're partying, you're out there sleeping with Tom, Dick,
Yes.
and Harry,
Yes.
you're
Yes.
twerking, you're being
Yes.
seductive,
Yes.
you out there doing all types of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
for me, there's much more than me. There's much more to me than that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So once I started attracting the right people, I started, investing the time in myself and walked away from that. I haven't picked up a bottle of liquor in almost a year now.
Yes.
Okay. So once I did all that, everybody left, and I wasn't shocked. That
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
it was like,
Oh
I
look,
know.
look at exactly what I knew was gonna happen. Yes.
Right. And it didn't even, you know what? I'm going to be totally honest. The
Yeah.
first time I seen someone true colors, like for who they really was,
Hmm.
because they masked it so well, it
Is
just,
it that they masked it, or is it because you were still in the thick of it?
that's a good question. I would say, I would definitely say because when I meet people, I give them the benefit of the doubt, right? And I
Same.
have this gift of seeing potential in people, even when
Same.
they don't see it in themselves. But the
Yeah.
problem was, I didn't see the potential in me that they saw in me already. They
Yeah.
wasn't telling me they seen the potential because I'm drinking or whatever. They knew what I'm capable of when I talk. I do
Yeah.
motivational speeches and stuff like that.
Yep.
People gravitate towards me. They knew
Mhm.
that. The people who were around me already knew that. But
Yeah.
I didn't see it, right?
Same.
And
Same.
sometimes somebody has to say, you are good
You're
at
really
what
good at this. Yeah.
you should definitely like look into that, right?
Yes.
I have
Yes.
people around me saying, why would you want to do that? Why you want
Man,
to
that's what
do
I'm saying. Yes. Right.
why you want to do makeup? Why you want to? What makes you want
Right.
to like design sneakers or
Right.
open a business in general? And I'm like,
In general,
like
why would you want to water yourself?
right, right. So the seeds weren't planted at the time. I had to plant my own seeds and water them, right? And then I started to change who I was hanging with. So I was happy that those people were moving because I already had asked God, please remove people that are not for me. Like, because there's things that you see in here that I didn't see in here, right?
Yeah.
So I need
Yes.
to remove that. So look at
Yeah.
us now. We're on a podcast. I'm talking to Stasia, and this is what's happening. This is just the beginning of what's happening because I made a decision
Hmm.
to step away from and walk away completely from
Yeah.
what I was entertaining or whatever it was I was doing before even
Yeah.
getting here. So
Yeah.
those are not friends. Be careful who you call friends. They don't leave you. They definitely uplift you. They're definitely honest with you. And
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody to tell me you need to be more accountable of your decisions. You need to, change some things.
Right.
So these are things that I ended up having to decide on my own. So I just wanted to put that in there because
You
that
you chose to evolve and ascend. Hey.
absolutely. And super
Yes.
grateful for the women and men who are around me. I have guy friends as well who is super supportive, and don't be like, oh, you don't drink? Why?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you
Yeah.
don't drink? That's good. You don't like.
Oh, good for you. Right. Like that's a blessing. Like honestly, that's a rarity. Again, like I'm like a hermit, so like I haven't experienced
Hey,
that as much, but having that, especially in men, top tier.
right, right.
Top tier.
And I totally agree. It's definitely quality over quantity. Having a bunch of people around you and stuff like that. Eh,
Not
for me,
not
it's no. I
no.
like my small little circle.
Yeah.
which is very
Literally.
funny.
They look teeny. Yeah.
Yes, and I do have my people I network with.
Yes.
It's different vibes, but
Right.
I no longer entertain or surround myself around people who just feel some type of way if they see
Low vibing
any type
people.
of advancement. So, and I can pick
Yeah.
up on that immediately.
Man, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's like people, man, I see you slithering up. What are you doing?
Yes, yes,
I can see you.
yes.
Literally, I can actively see you approaching with your fangs out, man. Get
And this is another thing that I would say, especially the audience: don't reveal or talk about anything too soon. Make sure things are confirmed before you make an announcement. Be careful who you share ideas and things with, because everybody
outside
don't
energy
want your best
can block your
interest.
blessings.
Everybody don't want anything good for you, and
Right.
I've seen it over and over again. I designed sneakers for almost 2 years. I got to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Been around people where I'm super excited about something and I want to share it so bad, and I'm sharing it, and their energy is like,
Mer- Yeah, literally, literally that. And it's like,
and then it's
it's like, oh, okay. So like, you can't be
right.
like, I got it, I got it. You one of them. You
And
one of them.
don't self sabotage yourself either, because I was a person who did that. I self sabotage a lot, and
Same.
I would doubt so much, and it was just crazy. Like, you
Yeah,
can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes,
yeah.
you can.
But
Okay.
I feel like that's like a trauma. Like I feel like that's a trauma thing. Like, do you know what I'm saying? We didn't just wake up like that.
Right.
Things repeatedly happened to us, where it's like, I don't know, like we got the rug pulled out from underneath us. You know what I'm saying? Like time and time again, or something. But it's always something led us to that point, and it's not a it's not an overnight fix
Mm-mm.
where like you just wake up and you're like, oh great, I can do everything, and it's not. I struggled. I still struggle with imposter syndrome frequently.
Right.
You know, you know what that is?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, man.
We're on the same
Like,
page. We're on the same page.
yeah,
I literally remember telling someone I was getting ready to go to the military, right? And this is like, I had started, like, I was interested. I was going for the test. They told me I had to lose this amount of weight. So I was like super excited. I wanted to go, and I
yeah,
went. And after I met, with the recruiter and everything, I literally went and saw someone that my friend, okay, and
yeah,
I'm telling them, oh, the military, da da da, I'm so excited, the benefits, da da, and they're like, oh, so you're gonna be like in the war and like jumping out of the planes and stuff, like, and I was like, what? He's like, yeah, yeah. As soon as you go on the training, they don't tell you, and instead of me saying, you went to the military before?
yeah. You were there.
Were you there?
You
Or
did
like,
it.
was it something like, because I never heard no one who went to
I didn't get that memo. I didn't know that was a part of your life.
instead of
Yeah,
saying that at the time, I mean, I was young, so
right,
I didn't even think to ask those kind of questions. But they said that to me, and I accepted and received what they said, and it was
right.
like, Mom, I'm not going to the military. Mm-mm. Nope, I'm not going to no war. I'm not. She's like, what? You was just excited, and it's like, I'm not going.
Yeah,
I'm not going anymore.
yeah.
So, yeah, don't ever prematurely announce anything unless it's already confirmed.
Man, I'm saying literally, I say that all the time. Man, outside energy can, and it's not even that it can block your blessings, because what's meant for you and what's destined for you was always for you, and it'll never be. No one can take it from you. No one can siphon it from you. No one can recreate it from you. None of that,
Right.
But like, in general, absolutely, is just like, and people will be like, oh, she's sneaky, like, because man, y'all can call it what it is, but like, you just mad that you don't find out about things until I've already done it.
Listen, I'm not I'll say this. I'm kind, I'm not friendly.
Right.
I'm
right?
very
Like
kind, respectful, but I'm not
you're
friendly. And
exactly
I'm not an open book in a sense of sharing things so
right,
soon.
right,
But I can talk on somebody's podcast and I can give you a little bit of my backstory of my life. I can
right.
share some things with you and you probably be like, what?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
as far as like things that I'm working on, my goals and stuff like that, I keep that very dear and close to my heart because it's unfortunate that you can't talk to people about these things. You just can't
right. You just can't.
because people are just looking to tear it down as soon as they can.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you better than da da da. No,
Oh, right.
you
No,
think I'm better
that's
than
what you think, and that's why you feel some type of way because
absolutely.
you think, man, listen,
Or
and you know facts, yeah,
so
and it
yes.
it's
That
just a whole lot. I mean, again, life lessons we you live and learn, but
right.
do you feel like with your podcasting and stuff that you how do you go about like announcing things like because that's a struggle with me because that's how I am. I'm like I'm not talking about anything, but then also I feel like it kind of like screws you in one end because now you're not like like putting your stuff out there.
Mhm. So with my podcast, this is my baby, right? I,
Right.
I've come up with the ideas. I've been doing the work. I've been working
Yeah.
hard behind the scenes. So
Right.
people when they see it on social media, it's just you see the flyers. You like, hold on. So to answer that, I most recently have got someone who messaged me and they were like, "How did you get that many episodes so fast? Like, what did you do?" And I was like, "It's not like a Krabby Patty formula or something. It's
Man,
no,
that's what I'm saying. What
not a secret. Um, People are so used to or
instant
wanting
gratification.
things so fast. Like
Instant.
everything is fast. If
Yeah.
if somebody dropped an album today, right, that was like very popular,
Hmm.
they'll say, "You listened to the whole thing yet? Did you listen to the whole?" And I'm like, "The album just came out yesterday."
It literally just came out.
You know how long it takes for me to like really go through the songs and see what I like and what I don't. You know what I'm saying? Everything is like
Yeah.
facts. You start
Yeah.
talking to somebody, they want, people, you in a relationship tomorrow. Somebody saying
Yeah.
they love you next week. Like, it's everything is fast. So
Yeah.
when they seen that I did this with the podcast, it was like, wait, you just made YouTube win? I'm like, I've been on YouTube, but it was me liking and supporting other people's content.
Right.
I didn't
Right.
have content of my own. I didn't have much knowledge of YouTube at all.
Right.
So these is all things that I'm learning as I go. So with
Same.
YouTube,
Yeah.
I had YouTube since I think 2021 or something. I don't remember, but I started really using it when I made the podcast. So I think
Hmm.
July is like my first episode. So they're like, "How are you so close to like 400 subscribers?" There's not a secret formula. I just was consistent. I posted. I promote it, and a lot of people don't know I did everything and still doing everything by myself, right? I just got an editor, but now I'm learning how to edit
How to
on my
do it.
own
Exactly. Yeah.
because I feel like why would I pay for something that I
Why
can
would I? Literally, that's literally my mindset. And
I
somebody said to me, somebody said to me the other day, they're like, it could be going a lot faster if you hired somebody to do X, Y, and Z. Like when I made my website, everyone was like, oh, hire this person to do it. They talking about something like $750, not not knowing that I've taken graphic design for 4 years. Like I know what I'm doing. You know what
right.
I'm saying? Like I was a MySpace baby. That was my first hustle making people's I
Oh
was
my
making people's MySpace things back in
god.
the day. I'm like, I got this. I'm not paying somebody to do something that I can do. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
but they're used to like pressing the elevator button, getting in and just rising, just going. But you and I are out here like all the equipment on our back, taking the steps.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and it's just for me. I know people say, you can hire people, and it helps the process. You need a team. I am the team.
I
When
am the
when it gets
team.
to the point where this is my thing. I like to be hands on everything that has to do with my brand. I
That.
need to know what's going on. I want to
Yes.
know. I want to have one-on-one conversations with my guests.
Yes.
I want them to understand that they are in a safe space when they come over here. That
Absolutely.
once you hear me talk, because through a DM, you really don't know what the vibes are until you
Right.
actually have a face to face, right?
Right.
Which is
Right.
why I set up the little meetings before we get into the interview. So
Yeah.
I like to be hands on with anything that has to do with my brand. Now, when it
Same.
comes to building a team, you got to
Mm-hmm.
make sure you have the right people, right?
Right.
Because you all have to be able to work together to keep your brand up and running. Right now, I am a one woman show. I do
Same.
editing, I do flyers, I do recruiting, I do promoting. I'm learning how to edit and do things on Canva, like
Yep.
putting these videos up on YouTube. So
Yes.
for me, in the future, okay, when it
You may.
starts to expand, say if
Right.
200 guests reach out to me with them wanting to be on the show, then I'll start saying, okay, now this is really growing.
Too much.
How
Right.
can I expand? Right. Because I'm not going to be like, okay, in a DM trying to talk to 200 people. And no, that's not going to work. But right now,
Exactly.
I got it under control right now. So,
Right. Right.
to answer your question, because I definitely got sidetracked.
That's me. It's fine.
How I deal with putting out things and making sure I put it out and not too soon. Well, when I share a flyer, I don't put what we're going to talk about on the flyer anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because if you want to know what we're talking about, you're going to tune
You'll
in.
have to tune in.
You're
Yep.
going to tune in. And if you're not interested, you're not going to tune in. That's absolutely fine.
Yes.
Either way. Okay. So when I share the flyers, I always just put join. Now I know people get confused with that because they looking at it like you're telling us to join, but where do we join? You join when I put it and say that the episode is out, and you join on YouTube, you subscribe, you like, you comment, share, and you're watching the whole entire video. I
Right.
share some clips sometimes. There's going to be a couple clips in here from our interview I will share to draw the people in. But
Right.
people be hunting me down like, so when are you dropping your next episode? And I'm like, do you know I'm editing over 40 something episodes?
Man,
Coming,
right.
coming. But I definitely have a few episodes out now that I just recently released, and I have an episode that's being dropped tonight at 11 for people that want to check it out. So yeah, I never prematurely announce anything. I'm pretty much
Man.
myself. And I like it that way. I have
What?
certain people when we have conversations, we talk about things, but it's a bunch of friends and all that. No, I never had a
Yeah.
bunch of friends because I know how I am. I know what type of friend I am. I'm a very loyal friend. And when I
Same.
call somebody my friend, like I
Like,
really hold that to my heart, right?
yes.
So
Yes.
I don't want people around me that are jealous or envious or,
Yeah.
if I'm coming to you to talk to you about something, you're projecting how you really feel over here
Right.
because now I know how to block that out. Before I didn't. I used
Yeah.
to let people trauma dump on me, and it was,
Man.
so now I don't even allow that. As soon as I see that you're starting to go into something, and I know I can't. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. I'm not in the space to receive what you have to
Yeah.
deliver right now or talk
Yes.
about. So
Yeah.
I'm not in a
Wait,
space.
how did you say it? That was the most. I'm like, I need to use that exactly that way because that was the
Trauma
most
dumping.
eloquently.
Yeah, trauma dumping is pretty much, people call you or they're talking to you and they're just putting everything that's going on with them, all their trauma, pain, whatever it is, they're venting and they're just pushing it onto you. And you could have just been in a really, really good mood, right? And now they're calling you saying, Tanir, girl, I just went through it with da, 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 and they're telling you all this stuff. And you're just like, now you find yourself
Yes.
feeling like how they feel, and you're not even the person that went through it.
It's energy vampire. That's what I call it. It's
Right.
energy vampire.
So I tell my friends, because I do the same with them, if it's something that I really want to talk about, it's mostly my mom or my father I'm talking to about these things anyway. But
Exactly.
if it's somebody outside of them that I'm talking to about something like that, if it's something I want to share that's really deep, I always ask first,
Yeah.
are you in a space to receive what I'm about to tell you?
Yeah.
Because this is like something I'm about to tell you that it can cause you to start feeling how I'm feeling.
Some type of way.
So
Yeah.
that gives people, the option to say, mm-mm. Because everybody go through things, right?
Right.
So and just keep that in mind. Me and Stasia started going into our our conversation here. This doesn't even feel like an interview. It never does. I don't even know why I call it interviews, but but this is just amazing. I was super, super excited to have you here. And I just appreciate the whole conversation overall. So, as we wrap these things up, what message or advice would you like to share with others who may be struggling with invisible illness or EDS?
In general, always advocate for yourself. If you know that something is wrong with you, if you're feeling some type of way in your body, if something is going on with you, you go and you get second opinions and third opinions, and you walk out of appointments when you feel that you're being gaslit or you're being disrespected or you're being dismissed at any point in time. You get up because the doctors are there to serve you. You're there to be heard and listened to and taken care of. If you're asking them for some tests or to run blood work, or can you check this, can you check that, and they're not wanting to do those things, you get up and leave and you take yourself elsewhere, because you don't have to stay with a doctor or a provider or a physician or a practice that doesn't want to take care of you or listen to you. And you don't have to take any kind of abuse. And that's honestly what it is when you're just being gaslit and dismissed. So please always advocate for yourself and stand up for yourself and remove yourself from places that don't want to have you and take care of you and respect you. You're your most important priority. And that's it.
I love that. So, thank you so much, Stasia, for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Your resilience and courage is truly inspiring. But as we conclude, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. No matter the challenges we face, visible or invisible, our strength lies in our ability to persevere and find hope in every moment. Remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward healing and growth. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and keep moving forward. Until next time, take care and keep shining your light. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe so I can continue to put out episodes that you enjoy and definitely get inspiration from. And Stasia, is it any way my audience can connect with you?
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm Stashia Jeanette, and on YouTube, I'm Stashia Jeanette 007.
Okay, and I will have it linked in the description if you want to reach out to her. If there's anyone with any questions on EDS, she will definitely answer. Make sure you send her a message and check her out. Until next time, bye.